What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Awakening World. I'm Love Coach Scott Catamas, and I'm excited. We have such a beautiful group of presenters tonight. I'm billing it as wise women sharing about connection to our true mother, Mother Earth, Gaia, Pachamama. And in a moment, I definitely will take a look at some of the messages that came into our chat box from our friends. But I want to let you know who we've got with us tonight. And leading us off will be Reya Manna, whom we love and adore. And also coming back is Mare Cromwell. And we have a new friend, Ashtyn Monea, and definitely one of our, probably the person who's been on the show the most, Tatiana Speed is with us tonight. And of course, both Desirea and DeArah are here. No need to fear. Both Desirea and DeArah are here. And most of all of you are here. So welcome. It's great to have you with us. And it'll really be, as we are getting ready, Earth Day is next week. And we've got a really special something happening for Earth Day, which I'll talk about a little bit later during our Global Peace Tribe announcements. But this is a good time for us to really start dropping in and tuning in. And to be honest, I kind of really was inspired when I knew that Reya Manna could be with us. That's kind of what gave me the thought for the show, because she literally sings to the earth. She, of course, has the Songkeeper school that many of you have participated in. And her relationship to Mother Earth is just so precious and beautiful. So welcome back, Reya. It's good to have you with us.
Oh, thank you so much, Scott. What an honor to be here, and especially talking about this topic.
It's your cup of tea for sure. Absolutely. Um, and would you be willing to get us off to start with maybe an invocation and a musical offering?
Absolutely. So when we are working with the earth, we are working with this field of coherence of which we're all a part. So I'd love to invite us to just take a moment and tune in together to connect in to each other's hearts and the heart of our Mother Earth. So let's rub our hands together. I love to rub the hands because all the energy meridians of the body run through the palms. The healing energy center, we have a healing energy center in our hands. And our hands are an extension of our heart. The heart is the seat of love and compassion, and our hands are the extension of that love into action. So we're saying, here I am available to be that conduit of love, of grace into the world. And then shake out the hands. And let's just close our eyes for a moment, connecting with our heart, connecting with our breath, feeling ourselves arrive into this here and now moment and tuning in with our heart, with our beating heart, with the light within our beating heart. And feel the connection with each of us in this sacred circle today, this circle of hearts. And extend that circle outward to include the light workers, the rainbow warriors, the ancient ones, the ancestors, all the beings that are here stewarding the great awakening, feeling ourselves in sacred circle with these beings, feeling our hearts illuminated, joined, and then connecting down with the heart of our Mother Earth, seeing her heart like a crystalline star. And then feeling the energy come back up to our own hearts and connecting in with the heart of the sun, creating a beautiful sacred geometry, opening a column of light to connect the heavens and the earth. And in this sacred space, we invite in the directions of the north, the south, the east, the west, the archangels who guard these gates. We invite in our Pachamama, her elementals, her kingdoms, her angels, to tend to our body temples. We invite in the sun, the moon, the stars, the great architect of the universe, the truth of who we are, that we may operate in harmony with the heavens and the earth and all beings. We cast a circle of protection around ourselves, inviting into this sacred space only that which is for our highest and best. And coming back to our hearts, connecting in with your own intention. What is your intention here today, and what is your intention in relation with our Mother Earth? Would you like to deepen your relationship, know her more? So stating that intention, just in the stillness of your being. And take some deep breaths here. And I'm going to move into a song. And the song is called Hollow Bone. And it's an invocation for us to step into that offering of ourselves as an instrument of peace of the divine. And in offering ourselves as this vessel, this vehicle for divine intelligence to flow through us, may we also name into the field that all is well. Because a big piece of working with the Mother Earth and honoring our Mother Earth is enhancing her natural principles of nature, which are all is well, which is of truth, of connection, of reciprocal relationship. Lord, make me a hollow bone, return me to your song. Sing through me the harmony that brings us to unity. Lord, make me a hollow bone, return me to your song. Sing through me the harmony that brings us to unity. Lord, make me a hollow bone, return me to your song. Sing through me the harmony that brings us to unity. The divine intelligence of the universe has gathered itself, creating the world. The divine intelligence of the universe has gathered itself, creating the world. All is well, all is well, all is well, all is well. brings us to unity, the divine intelligence of the universe has gathered itself, creating the world. The divine intelligence of the universe has gathered itself, creating the world. All is well, all is well, all is well, all is well. I go in the name of the Most High. I sing in the name of the Most High. I go in the name of the Most High. I sing in the name of the Most High. I go in the name of the Most High. I sing in the name of the Most High. Make me a hollow bone and sing through me. Make me a hollow bone and sing through me. Make me a hollow bone and sing through me. Make me a hollow bone and sing through me. Make me a hollow bone and sing through me. Make me a hollow bone and sing through me. Make me a hollow bone and sing through me. Make me a hollow bone and sing through me. All that is remembers. All that is remembers. All that is remembers. All that is remembers. Lord, make me a hollow bone, return me to your song. Sing through me the harmony that brings us to unity.
Absolutely exquisite.
Thank you.
It's so important. I love how you sing it about being a hollow bowl. My mantra for 30 years has been, may I be a clear channel for spirit to flow through. And I think all of us in our own unique way, Desirea, I see, acknowledging, it's like if we can all learn to do that, and whatever analogy we want to use, to really let spirit or our higher self, our God self, flow through us and move through us. If we all, when we get to the place where we're all doing that, then we will be experiencing heaven on earth all the time.
That's it. Yeah. Thank you for that, Scott. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, we're at this threshold point, right? This awakening world, this turning point in human consciousness. And many of the prophecies point to that. In the Mayan calendar, we've had the end of a 26,000-year cycle. We're stepping into a new 26,000-year cycle. Vedic astrology refers to the coming of the Sat Yuga, this age of peace and truth, and this time of universal consciousness where we'll have harmony across the world, throughout the world. And I believe a big piece of that is this unity consciousness, this we mentality, where there is a truth coming through the ethers, coming through the field, very much emanating through the ground beneath our feet, through our connection with Mother Earth. And that invites us into deep relationship with all of us as one being, one body. And so, offering that prayer of offering ourselves as this hollow bone tunes us into divine intelligence, which when divine intelligence works through all of us, then we are like pieces of a puzzle that finally got put together.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would love for you to share kind of how you came around to start singing to the earth. How did that evolve? And tell us about that journey, because I think it's just so beautiful.
Thank you for that, Scott. Gosh, we'll see what comes out of my mouth this time in terms of how the journey goes.
Well, that's because you're a hollow bones.
Speaking to the moment. Well, when I was a little girl, I fell in love with God. And I would sing to God at 5 years old and offer my food and my water and lived in the spirit of devotion. And I came into that through music. And my parents had just gotten divorced, and my dad got remarried to a born-again Christian woman, and they take me to these charismatic churches where it's just off the hook, the praise and gospel singing. And so I started singing to God from a really young age, but was conditioned to sing to this God outside of myself. And, fast forward many years, and I was in my first South American medicine ceremony, and I saw the shaman singing the healing to the people. And it was like this light bulb went off. Like I knew there was another way. I always knew that there was other things you could do with singing and song, other than you sing to God outside yourself, or you stand on a stage and you perform for a quiet audience. Well, now my world started to be expanded to see that you could actually sing a healing. And in that same ceremony, I was shown that I had a role to play in honoring the feminine, the earth, the water, the women, all things feminine. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I love God the Father. Like, I am Christian. Like, what do you even mean? And that just opened up this journey of subtle messages, subtle transmissions. In 2013, I started sun gazing. And I would go outside before dawn, stand with my bare feet on the ground, drink the energy of the sun through my body, and send blessings to the earth. I thought it was a great idea to kind of reset me before my birthday was coming up in a few weeks. Well, very unexpectedly, 10 days into that process, the earth started speaking back, showing me that all wisdom from all time was contained in the energetic field of the earth and in our energetic field. And we could tune in to that wisdom through building relationship through sending blessings to the earth, sending love, honoring the earth, acknowledging her presence, singing to the earth, of course. And that turned into this period of 5 years of receiving these messages, which I turned into a book, The Awakening World, The Return of the Divine Feminine. And then, kept on with my life, singing, teaching. I was a yoga teacher. I was doing events, do transformational life coaching, lead retreats. And then COVID hits and everything shuts down. So I'm living in the mountains of Topanga in Los Angeles. And I have nobody to sing for, nowhere to go. So in the morning, to do my morning prayers and songs, I would go outside, and I was surrounded by this beautiful landscape of mountains, and I would sing to the mountains. And after a little while of that, I was reminded deeply how much the land loves our interaction with it, how much the land loves our song. And it just inspired so much curiosity in me. I started studying ley lines and sacred sites and the geomagnetics of certain places on Earth. And I took a workshop with Freddie Silva in Sedona in person during COVID. It was so refreshing to be at an in-person unmasked workshop during that time. And even further inspired me in this course of singing to nature. Well, I was working an online job at the time, and I was feeling really strongly called to quit my job and to go sing to sacred mountains. Well, if any of you have ever had a kind of calling like that, or even an idea like that, you might say, well, this doesn't make any sense. You know, how am I going to support myself by singing to sacred mountains? I can't possibly do that. So it was 3 months of deep struggling with myself until I kind of got backed into a wall where the idea I had for how things were going to work wasn't working anyway. So I said, okay, well, what if I just listen to myself? Instead of trying to do everything to please everyone else, what if I follow this strong prompting? So that day I quit my job, and right away I was invited to lead a women's retreat in the Ko'olau Mountains of Oahu, Hawaii. I was invited to lead a private retreat in the Grand Tetons. I then went to the Chiricahua Mountains in eastern Arizona to sing to those mountains. I was in Sedona, and I sang to the mountains. And during that time, I received so much information, including the name of my program that I now teach, the Songkeeper School. And it's this journey of restoring the memory of who we are through singing to the earth, and how to sing to the earth, how to build that relationship with Gaia, how to sing to the water, how to work with ancestral healing, all through the use of sound and song. And so a very unexpected outcome of that, I didn't know what was going to come next, as often happens with the promptings of spirit. It's like in the tarot, the Fool card. You know, the Fool trusts, you know, has his little satchel and steps off the cliff, and you don't know if anything's coming next. And so that's how I got, you know, that was kind of my journey into this work. And, you know, I've really seen through that time the capacity of singing to the land, how that connects us in with this field of responsiveness. Like, you know, many of us, we may struggle feeling alone or feeling isolated. And yet when we step outside, there's a whole natural world that is completely listening to us, completely responding to us. Trees can move to touch us. The wind can blow at our request. The sun shines, rainbows come out. The natural world is such a beautiful example of how beloved we are of the universe. And in these times we're in, how I've experienced it is that we're living inside of a great spiritual deficit. That the original people, cultures of old, they understand, or they understood that before you take anything, that you first give. You first make an offering, you first ask permission. So with the Industrial Revolution and who knows how long, we've been in this mindset of extraction, where no, you don't have to give anything first, you just take it. And when you take it from the physical world without acknowledging that there's a spiritual world, what happens is a deficit begins to grow. And now we see that in the deficit of our economy, the deficit of our mental health, the deficit of our relationships, of our happiness. And that's because we have this tremendous void in the spirit world where we haven't been giving back, and yet we've been receiving so much. So when we sing to the earth, when we tend to the earth, when we connect with the earth, we are in part giving back, filling that void, returning to source, the source of all that we have. So I'll just take a little pause.
I just love your story. You know, it's so beautiful. And I just want to riff on, you followed a crazy idea. You followed something that is outside of what we've been programmed and taught and trained in the civilized world, and you really dropped into listening, and the way that it has responded, the way that your life is moving forward. It's so beautiful to watch, and it's such an inspiration. Yeah. And I love what your basic premise of giving back to the earth. And you know what you're saying, it's true. I mean, for so long, humankind, especially Western culture, take, and one could even say raping the earth. And just the whole male paradigm, you know, that has just done such a terrible job of leadership or lack of leadership. And so I just really appreciate who you are, the way you think, and the way you put it into action, Reya.
Thank you, Scott. And one thing I would say to that is it's not the male paradigm that's the problem. You know, our natural polarities are the female and the male. It's the distortion field.
Yeah.
And, you know, what's been coming through so strongly recently is I mean, in my classes, there's one of the classes I teach for the sun and for the masculine and Father God. And there's a song that we sing, which is for blessing the men. In recognition that inside this field of distortion, the men have been the slave labor of the commerce of the system. There has been a tremendous conditioning put upon the masculine, and then we all suffer. So, you know, for us to come back to wholeness, we need the masculine feminine. I mean, all of nature is the coming together of the masculine and feminine to create life. And Gnostic teaching, they say that it's the earth is this representation of the truth of creation, which is the Mother, Father, God coming together and creation being born out of that. So it's very dear and close to my heart that the fault doesn't lie with the men. The fault doesn't lie with the masculine paradigm. The fault lies with this distortion field where we've all been led astray. We've been led down concrete paths in rubber shoes where our feet don't touch the earth. And, you know, our eyes are seeing a computer screen more than they're seeing the light of the sun. So as we return to the earth, restore our relationship with her, the distortion field begins to melt away. The overburdening of our body with EMFs, with all these subtle frequencies, begin to wash away. As we return to the earth and hopefully are able to eat in natural food and to drink pure water, then we're not being exposed to the bombardment of hormones that are also manipulating the way that we're seeing the world. So I just wanted to share that because it makes me so sad sometimes when I see a good man like you and talking about, you know, the ills caused by the men, because I wouldn't assign blame like that. I would assign it to the distortion field, and that just shows why it is so important for us to connect with the earth, to connect with these fields of unity, of peace, of truth. May we, you know, we are spiritual beings, and we are designed to be in motion, in action. And how do you take a spiritual being out of their power? You invalidate them. You tell them they're wrong. You tell them they're bad. And as soon as you tell them they're wrong and bad, they stop acting. They stop their motion. They stop power. So we need all of us right now to utilize our power for good into the world.
Brilliantly stated. I stand corrected. At the moment it came out of my mouth, I said that didn't turn out right.
But thank you for saying that, because there's so much talk like that. I hear it all the time, how bad the men are, and I just want to cry. Because the men I know, like you, Scott, are beautiful, beautiful, kind-hearted men who give their life dedicated to higher principles.
And I meant to say the dominant male patriarchy, but I really like how you call it the distortion field. I think that's a really dynamic and powerful way to say it. And you know, this is a whole other topic. This is a whole show. Because there is part of my awakening as a man I am part of that male patriarchy. I mean, I have a relationship to it. I mean, one could say we all have a relationship to it, but as a white privileged man, I do have a more significant relationship to it than, say, you do. And there's a certain embarrassment and shame. And you're right, we don't want to go into paralysis. As a love coach, I'm always working with people, what's your self-talk? Because if our self-talk is self-judgmental, we trigger our reptile brain and we go into the freeze reaction. So you're right, we don't want to freeze, but there is a certain step of mourning the pain of the past. Anyway, there's all sorts of wonderful messages to you. We're going to go to your website in a moment, but I want to read some of the messages that have come in from our wonderful audience, all of which are kind of inspired by you, my dear. DeArah writes, let's clear any shame while we take responsibility for what we are healing. Beautifully put, DeArah. Carol Craig says, right on. I love men. No need to blame. We just need to get it together and do better. Eleanor Joy writes, for our walking group today, the rain held off until the end of the walk. Whichever way it goes, being in the forest was a beautiful, deep, rich experience. DeArah also wrote, it hurts to hear deprecation of the male men when we discuss patriarchy. Thank you, Reya. Reya saved me. Reya to the rescue. Thank you. Thank you. Reverend Jeffrey Colebrook writes, I am so happy to be back in my garden with spring breaking here in central New York. Scotty Satori says, yes, I was also outside most of the day. It just got better and better, warmer and warmer. Loved it with beautiful views from the ranch. Susan Bloomquist writes, this I think a little bit to what you were saying earlier. Reciprocation is a way to live. Perhaps that would change many things. And Darina Joy wrote an acrostic poem for our beloved Earth. So the acronym being Earth: embrace, activate, regenerate, transform, harmonize. So again, E would be embrace, A would be activate, R would be regenerate, T would be transform, H would be harmonize. And then people just loved your music. Tatiana said, so beautiful. I love the prayer and invocation of the song, deeply resonant for me. And many, many comments from people appreciating your beautiful music. We actually have a question. We're already over time. Sorry, kids, it's going to be a longer show because we've got 6 amazing women. But here's a good question from Thomas. What is the source of the distortion field?
You know, that's a great question. I think more importantly, what is the source of the natural law that comes from the divine? Because any inquiry we're in, the universe goes to open the way for that. Anything we focus on expands that in our life. Right now, that's part of how the distortion field lays its claim, is it's very confusing. So we're all trying to figure out what happened and why did it happen. Where when we can look to nature, nature is whole, it's complete. There's no question about that. So I would invite us to look to the source of truth, where we can feel it under our feet, where we can experience it through human kindness, and then the distortion field fades, which is ultimately what we desire. We're not combating anything here.
I just love the way you express yourself. So she mentioned the Songkeeper School, and to find all things Reya Manna, it's her website, which is her name, Reya, Reya, Manna with 2 N's, Manna. And if you go to events, you will see that she's got her Songkeeper.
Just a little bit.
People, please mute. Everybody needs to be muted because we don't want to hear anybody other than what we've got the spotlight on. So when is your next Songkeeper School? Oh my God, it just started.
We just started one. This is a very special cohort where we are singing to the lands of the UK, Europe, and the Middle East. And we are singing to restore the holiness, restore the sacredness to the ground beneath our feet. So the land holds story, the land holds memory. And in these places, this energy has been so highly charged for so long. And so we're singing the light, we're singing the purity into the land using the ley lines of the earth. In particular, there's a ley line that runs from the tip of Ireland through the tip of England, through France, Italy, Greece, Turkey, right to Israel. It's called the St. Michael ley line, and it's marked with temples or monasteries to St. Michael all along it. And St. Michael's depicted as this angel with a sword standing on a dragon, defeating it. Interesting that another name for ley lines, the energy lines of the earth, are the dragon lines. What we know is that many of these sacred sites, these places where there's a crisscross of the energy lines of the earth, they are powerful portals. They're power portals that have been taken over by each conquering civilization. The pagans built a monument, then somebody came, conquered them, built a monument on the same spot, so on and so forth. So some of these energy lines have been taken over to fuel certain agendas, certain stories. So we're singing to those energy lines. We're singing to certain locations to pour light through the planetary grid, to liberate those places where the energy may have been stuck. We're singing to our own ancestral lines to liberate those places in our family story where there may have been abuse and trauma. So it's very potent work that we're doing right now. And just for 8 weeks, we just started. If anyone would like to join us in singing to the earth, every person who's added expands the field exponentially.
Wow. Thank you so much. And again, to learn more about it, go to the website. I'll put it into the chat box one more time. We're going to have a whole panel conversation, a roundtable conversation later on in the show. So we'll get a chance to get more Reya Manna then. She's also going to do another song for us after the Global Peace Tribe announcements. Reya, thank you for getting us off to an amazing start.
Thank you, Scott. God bless you.
Well, wait till you see, we've got so many amazing women sharing tonight. And our next guest is Mare Cromwell. Those of you that are regulars have seen her on the show before. But for those of you who are new to Mare, she is the founder and director of the Great Mother Love Way. And she has dedicated her life to this incredible work. She has studied with Native American teachers for 26 years, along with many other spiritual mentors. Several prominent Native American elders have confirmed Mare's rapport with Mother Gaia. And she also has worked with cosmic shamans, who again have confirmed her relationship with Mother Earth. She's also going to be sharing with us about something happening on April 22nd. It's a big live event on the Washington Mall. I'll let her tell you all about it. It's the Thousand Goddesses Gathering. Mare, just like Reya, you are someone who has a very beautiful relationship with Mother Earth Gaia, and kind of a similar question that I asked Reya. I'd love for you to just give us a little bit about your history. How did you go from whatever way you were raised into who you are now?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Scott. It's always an honor to be here with you, with everybody. I love listening to you, Reya. It's fascinating what you do. All of our work is different, and there's so many different ways we can serve Mother. And so that was fascinating to learn about your work. My journey with Mother, I call her Mother Gaia, really started, I see it as my soul contract. But having said that, I named my first cat Mother Nature when I was all of 9 years old. And then I became a park ranger out west in my early 20s and in the Grand Canyon and Alaska. So I've always had a really huge devotion and love of nature. I got a master's in natural resources, was into environmental education. And then what happened was I fell in with a Cherokee teacher and was an apprentice to her for 14 years. A year after she and I parted ways, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I had already started to get to be good friends with an Algonquin medicine man. And he had gotten a specific request from Mother Gaia, or Gaia, that the two of us do a ceremony together for her, just the two of us. And she said to him at the time, because she had been communicating with him for years, it was very tight communication, still is, she said this was going to be healing for her, for the two of us to do this. And I didn't know what that meant, but when he contacted me, I said, yeah, I'll definitely be there and do that. And little did I know that 3 weeks later, or 3.5 weeks later, I was going to receive a cancer diagnosis for lymphoma. And I knew I wasn't feeling well, but at the same time, I didn't know it was going to be that drastic. But I knew I had to be there at that ceremony. So I drove a number of hours north of where I was in Maryland to the edge of Pennsylvania near New York State. And we met and did the ceremony in a forest And the details of the ceremony aren't really that important, but what is important is you said to me, I'm going to be bringing Gaia's energy and consciousness into your energy body, but I don't know how you're going to disconnect afterwards. And my response was, I'm not concerned because I know my life is to serve Mother. I already knew that. And right at the end of the ceremony, I hear this voice booming through my head that says, if you surrender to me to the extent I will ask you to surrender, I will help you heal from the cancer without the doctors. And I knew in that moment, like, this is Mother. This is Gaia. She's talking to me. And of course, when I heard her, what she said, I'm like, yes, full on yes. I really look at it now like she kind of had me over a stick. I was terrified of what the doctors were going to want me to do, chemo and radio, whatever. And so then things became really interesting really fast. And I started having all these adventures where my car went an extra 110 miles on full. Mother called me to the ocean 2 weeks after that ceremony, and I was doing ceremony on the beach and ceremony in the hotel room, and she said, I want you to put this other book aside that I'd already started. I want you to write this book with me. And she gave me the title, Messages from Mother Earth Mother. She gave me the whole table of contents, and then she gave me the very first full message, which is her message to us women. And I could go on and on with all the adventures. They're not stopping. Matter of fact, just 3 weeks ago, she gave me the assignment, which is what I would love to share a little bit about here tonight, is to link up the 1,000 Goddesses Gathering Global Grid that I've been organizing because Mother asked me to do it 10 years ago, and have this be a global grid of people around the world, and all of you are invited to do ceremony to link in with the final day, the final ceremony of the Great Mother March, which is an amazing event of people, all women but one man, one divine masculine guardian, the way I word it. They've been walking from Asheville, near where I live, to Washington, D.C., and they just have left Charlottesville today. And they're going to be in Washington, D.C. for the final day, April 22nd, Earth Day, and it's going to be a big event right below the Capitol. We're bringing the Great Mother into Washington, D.C. for a ceremony at the Capitol Reflection Pond. Water ceremony, this is big. At this time and age, this is big.
Yeah. You stopped in the middle and you took me by surprise. This is beautiful.
I guess you didn't know that story because I've been on the show a number of times, but literally I consider myself a humble servant to Mother. I have completely and totally surrendered to serve her. The Lakota hollow eagle bone, as you've already discussed. I never know what Mother's going to ask me to do, and I'm in conversation with her all the time. And I'm working on my third book of communications with her called Gaia's Web of Love. The second one is called The Great Mother Bible. I really balked when Mother gave me that title because I'm like, Mother, I can't do that. This is like the word Bible's in this title. No. And she just kept on saying, you're the one. And it just started, the messages started coming in. First from the Great Mother, who is the Mother beyond Earth, who I call now the great to meet you Mother sometimes when I'm playing around. But there are many mothers here in the universe, and we have our planetary caretaker, who I call Mother Gaia. And then there are many, many divine feminine ones in the form of, goddesses in various belief systems around the planet. And I could go on and on there. So I don't just work with Mother Gaia. Mary Magdalene I work closely with, and she asked me to do initiations for her. It's like the divine feminine is, how do I put this? I've surrendered to Mother Gaia, which means surrendering to the divine feminine in the greater gestalt of the divine feminine, I would say. And I love the masculine, the divine masculine. And I pray for the healing of the wounded masculine, which is how I phrase it.
When you let's talk about your communication with the mother, because you say you talk to her all day long. How is that? Like, is it you're imagining what she says to you? Do you actually hear a voice? Tell us about that.
It varies. I hear a voice. Sometimes it's incredibly clear communications. Like I just put a newsletter out a few days ago about how I'm really resisting doing this ceremony in Washington, D.C., because I've been asked to co-lead the final ceremony. I've gotten really sensitive to energy, and Mother and I had this conversation, and Mother said, now you need to put this out in your newsletter. Tell the people who follow you, who like what you do, how you're struggling right now, and yet I have your back. So a lot of times it's very clear. Sometimes it's ripples of energy running through me when she really likes what someone's saying to me that is really in sync with her, in alignment in a beautiful, beautiful way with her. Sometimes it's like little breadcrumb suggestions that I'm hearing, like, I'll be driving along and I'll have some extra time, and then I'll be like, well, do I got left or right, Mother? And I'll just get this go right. And next thing you know, there's an adventure waiting for me and someone I'm supposed to meet that I had no idea I was meant to meet. So an example is yesterday morning, I'm getting dressed, I'm not really awake. I'm doing my walks every morning, and I was told to put on my sweetie's Harley Davidson t-shirt that he gave me that's really old and soft and baggy, and it's orange. And I thought, oh, I'll just put that on. I don't really know why, but I'm just going to put that on because that was the guidance. And little did I know that when I went down the lane and talked with my neighbor, ran into her, she's like, oh, my mother just passed 2 weeks ago, and it was really sudden, and this poor woman is crying, and I'm hugging her, and she goes, my mother was a huge fan of Harley, and her favorite color was orange.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, Mother, you wanted me to put that t-shirt on, didn't you? Yes. Yeah.
Lorna Sass is asking, can you tell us more about how Mother healed the cancer?
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, total honesty here. In this full-on surrender, I also changed my diet, and I started doing a lot of emotional work because I knew it was a lot of repressed energy in my womb space, which a lot of us women have, for reasons I won't get into all right now. And there were these spontaneous ceremonies, like I got a spiritual call one day, go to this forest in the neighborhood because that's where the nature spirits are hanging out, because the whole rest of the neighborhood's been developed. And so I go down there and I take my smudge bowl and I'm doing ceremony. And right as I'm leaving the forest, at the end, I'm guided, put your hands on this big tree here and just love up the tree and take in the energy from the tree. I got so much energy that moved through my system. I got back to the house where I was living, and I lay on the couch for the rest of the afternoon because it was like massive amounts of healing energy. And right after the diagnosis, Mother said to me, in her way of saying, you're not going to work with a doctor, which, by the way, I tried to find a primary care physician. I didn't even have one. And the first one I went to, her electricity went off. Her computers went down in the office while she's examining me and taking notes on the computer. And I said, so does this happen very often? No, this never happens. And I went, oh. I'm thinking, I guess I'm not supposed to work with this doctor. But Mother said to me, because I lived near the Catoctons in Maryland, and there are a lot of beautiful streams there, and it's all protected forest for the most part. She said, I want you to go every day and go into the forest and find a creek and put your feet in that cold water every day. Because it was lymphoma, I needed to move the energy in my system. I needed to clear my lymph nodes. And I did that almost every day. And I went to sun dances the next summer. I went to Europe, was part of a Gaia wisdom gathering. I just followed Mother's breadcrumbs. She's like, now you're doing this and now you're doing that. And one time, like, a medicine man came to visit me who happened to live near me, and he was concerned that I wasn't going to the doctors because he knew what my situation was. And he walks in the door, and I say to him, Ben, your ancestors have been here all morning and they want to do a ceremony, and they really are interested in you doing this with me. And he freaked out because he was terrified of his grandfather who had passed like 10 years before. And this guy's just a husky, big, American guy, a Native American guy. And it just was wild, and it still is wild.
Wow. Wow. Well, there's much more to learn. I want us to get to what you're doing with the Great Mother's March. And so, first of all, everybody watching on Facebook and YouTube, the website you definitely want to go to is 1000 goddesses.net. You can learn all about Mare and the work that she's doing. It's a beautiful website with a lot of information. But of course, the big thing that's happening is next Wednesday, April 22nd. Of course, it's Earth Day. I like that you've renamed it Mother Gaia Love Day. I really like that. Tell us about the Great Mother March, how it's happening, and when people register, what happens next?
So thank you, Scott. Yeah. So when you register for this, you receive a response, basically, that I wrote up. But the gist of it is that you're registering to be a luminous love node. That's the term that Mother wants me to use. Wherever you live on the planet. And in being a luminous love node, you are willing to be a conduit of love. And there are steps on the website about how to do ceremony. And I would love to, before we part ways here, to encourage everyone to connect with Mother Gaia, and I will guide you through a really quick way to do that, from our energy body to her heart, our heart to her heart. But when you join the global grid, you are helping to form a really powerful unified field of healing that ripples across the planet. This will be the 10th year I've been doing this. It's based on the Tibetan prophecy that when 1,000 goddesses or Tibetan taros unite, it will shift the tone of our sacred earth from fear to compassion. And energy is so powerful. When we link in our hearts, as you know, probably Scott really well, and many people listening here, and when we do ceremony in particular, and ceremony to me means calling in our spirit teams, even if it means just calling in Mother, Father, God, and your ancestors, and Archangel Michael, and connecting with Mother Gaia in our heart, you become a conduit of energy, but you're also calling in these spirit teams who are really powerful. And they amplify the love field, the healing energy field. And so, again, I've been organizing these for 10 years, and this global grid in particular is to manifest a unified field again. And by the way, this is a form of subtle activism, because there's evidence of people meditating together and changing the energetics of where they are so that violence goes down. But this particular one is to really amplify our love for Mother Gaia, calling on her love to come into us, into our energy bodies, into the field, and then really focusing on Washington, D.C., where these incredible people have been walking for 32 days by the time they arrive in D.C. next Wednesday. And they've been walking 500 miles, and it's been a test. This is a pilgrimage. And the woman who is the visionary founder of it, leader, Whitney Freya, she calls it an empowerment pilgrimage. To me, it's an empowerment spiritual pilgrimage, because everything's spiritual. But she is phenomenal. And she got the message from Mother a year and a half ago. And the message was, I want you to organize the Great Mother March. And part of it is to, and she even heard very clearly, I want you to make me more visible. Because we grew up with the Great Father, most of us. I was raised Catholic. Most of us grew up in an Abrahamic religion, most of us. The Great Mother didn't exist in our worldview, but she never left. She just disappeared. There are all these ways I could talk about that, but I'll leave that aside right now.
Well, beautiful. And I a little bit later on the show, I would love for you to lead us through that experience.
Be honored.
And a reminder, everybody, that if you click on what I showed you before, click Get Tickets, and then you can donate whatever you want to donate. I like the idea of the 22s. So I'll go ahead and do that in a moment.
Oh my
But
gosh, Scott, thank you.
let's
And the
all,
funding, sorry, the funding coming in is going to be split between the Great Mother March and the Great Mother Love Way, which is my nonprofit that's behind the Thousand Goddess Gathering Group. Yeah.
beautiful. I'm putting into the link register here. Let's all register, everybody. And you can, if you don't have much money, you can put in $2.22. It doesn't be a two thing, but I like that idea. So there are where you can get tickets.
And I
And
want to also add, Scott, if people have a hard time with the registration, just go to the contact page on the website and just send us your location and we'll put you on the map.
beautiful. So let me go back and I'll see if I can find where that is to show people. Um, Here we go. So real quickly, show us where do they go if they can't register easily?
See, there's a contact right at the top, right? Just go
Yeah,
right there. Yeah,
that's easy. Okay, great. All
thank
right.
you.
All right, everybody. Please, everybody, let's all support this. This is so important. And thank you, Mare, and we will see you in a little while. I'll be back.
Thank you, Scott.
We have so many amazing people here tonight, including all of you who are watching. By the way, I've been enjoying watching DeArah go nuts over Mare's presentation. So I think you've got a new fan in DeArah there, Mare. Well, we all are fans of our next guest because it's Tatiana Speed, one of our absolute favorite, beloved presenters on the Awakening World. And she's been with us for many, many years. And it's been amazing watching your growth, Tatiana, watching your evolution. But as much as we all know you, I don't think we know your story of your relationship to Mother Earth, Gaia. And I'd love to ask you the same question. It's been fascinating hearing from Reya and Mare. Tell us how you've evolved from whatever way you were raised, whatever faith or religion, into your current connection with our mother.
Sure, I love this question. I'm just going to put it on gallery so I can see everybody. Hi, everyone. Aw, yay. I feel like I was definitely a true child of the earth. I mean, I was raised by a wild woman. Scott is getting to know my mother. I think you're all getting to know my mother now.
People
So,
love your mother, by the way. Well, I mean, you know better than we do, but her piano music is incredible. And it's
yeah.
been such a wonderful, I put her into the shows that are kind of more with a lot of talking
Mhm.
because after getting, like a lot of science or a lot of, talk, it's so nice to just relax into your mother's music. So
Mhm.
yeah, and our audience is loving her. So yes, she's becoming a very popular part of the awakening world.
That's so special. I love that so much. Yeah, so she's a magical being and very much a free spirit, a clairvoyant, a mystic, an artist, and she raised me very unconventionally and very connected to the earth. I mean, you see those kids at festivals when you go to festivals that are running around barefoot and like look like feral uh, children with their like hair done and their bare feet and like that was me. I was just carted off to so many earth festivals, always out in like beautiful nature with her. I refused to wear shoes. I often was in school and teachers were trying to get me to put my shoes on and I just wouldn't. And I had calluses on like I still have them actually. I can still run. I can run over any terrain like with my feet. And I always felt like a very deep connection between my feet and the earth. And I just felt like I did never wanted to put shoes on because it felt like it broke that contact between my feet and the earth. And I never had the language for that as a child, but I would just like go into tantrums and people trying to put shoes on my feet. So I was, yeah, definitely a wild child. I had a flute and I used to like climb these really tall trees with this little like flute I had, and I'd be at the top of these trees playing, and I used to feel very magical because no one could tell where the sound was coming from. People would just hear this like wafting flute through the forest, and I used to, I don't know, be very entertained by that. But yeah, I felt very elemental. I was very connected to like the elemental realms. When I was really little, I would always be seeing fairies and the elemental spirits of the forest. And yeah, and I remember my family has a farm, and there was this like one place in the farm, it's very sacred to me still, where I had all these experiences with fairies as a really young child. And there was this like one fairy who was like the fairy queen, and she guided me a lot. And then when I stopped seeing her, like, because when I was little, I would like see her, then I lost that ability, but I still like felt her. And I would pilgrimage to this spot all through my childhood, all through into high school. I would always go and pay homage to her. So felt very connected to the earth and to nature, always, and definitely like very connected to streams, waters, trees. Yeah. So I feel, and then I remember like the devastation I would feel when I would see like a clear cut. And it's interesting. It's like I had to numb the heartbreak of that because, there was a lot of trees that started to get cut down around our family farm. And at first it absolutely like devastated me. And I think the pain of what's happening on the planet, I've almost had to, I feel like now with the tools I have, I'm able to approach the heartbreak. But when I was little, I just felt rage and heart and like devastation. And I even remember like my grandpa cutting down at one of the trees I used to climb, and like I just sobbed and so I was very sensitive and really felt, I could feel every tree. And and actually just recently my grandpa actually clear cut a bunch of the forest on our land, and I mean that was I'm still grieving, like so I have a very deep connection to the earth, and everyone who spoke tonight has touched me so deeply. So sweet to be here with similar sensitive souls who feel this earth connection.
I have a question for you, a little different than I've asked the others. How do you manage staying optimistic and inspired given what's going on in the world that is so antithetical to your values, to who you are, and how do you manage that?
It's hard. I mean, I was actually on a call with Kadi J earlier this morning, and we were talking about faith in troubled times. It's going to be the topic of what we share when we're on our show in 2 weeks, Scott. I think it's faith that somehow there is a higher hand working through us all and working through this planet, and it's my connection to source and to love and to trust that I'm in this path that I'm on, that all of us are on. I think it's because when I sit in meditation, I can feel such exquisite, poignant love, and I feel the feminine really rising right now, and her coming into her power, and her, I loved the two speakers before talking about, this journey from the Father God to bringing back the Great Mother. And I see that happening like wildfire across the planet, that we're making this shift to the Mother again. And that gives me hope. So my faith gives me hope. This journey with the feminine rising right now gives me great hope. So many brave souls on this earth give me hope. all the people on this call give me hope. The love in my heart gives me hope. Like, I mean, I don't, yeah, I feel, yeah, that there's great suffering in this earth, and it's softened by the great love that's here. Mhm.
Just looking ahead, 2 Wednesdays from now, 2 weeks from now, we're going to have a special show. Tatiana and Khadijah are coming in, and they're collaborating, and they're going to create a combination of meditation and music and other magical things. And the topic that they've come up with is faith and trust in troubled times. So that's going to be 2 weeks from tonight. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the two of you create. I love the marriage of different people that that we have on the show. So it's gonna be really exciting to see what you two create.
It was so fun. We got on a call today, and it was like immediately, like the download was just like right there. So we're very excited to share. I think it's going to be really powerful.
Beautiful, beautiful. While I've got people's attention and we actually are talking about upcoming shows, I should mention everybody, next week's shows are going to start at a different time, just for 1 week. On Wednesday night, a week from tonight, April 22nd, instead of having a traditional Awakening World show, I'm going to direct everybody to tune into the show that Reawakened Andrew and Ben Bowler and everybody have put together. They've put together a really powerful April 22nd Earth Day show. And when I saw that put together, it was like, hey, let's just direct everybody there. And I'll pull up the posters real quickly and look at how many of our friends are on the docket. Of course, our beloved Kristen Hoffman, her grandmother, Shirley Barclay, Jonathan Granoff, who's brilliant, Fumi, Chief Phil Lane, David Young, Dana, all these people have been on our show, and they're all lovely souls. So next Wednesday night, it'll be a different Zoom room link. I'll send it out in an email, but instead of the Awakening World at 6 o'clock, we'll all be tuning in and watching this show at 4 o'clock. And then that same week, Saturday night, April 25th, we're going to start also at 4 o'clock because there's a big tribute with Gary Malkin and many of our friends for Michael Stillwater, who passed away that evening, and I didn't want to compete with that. So I'll send out an email with all the details, but put in your calendars 4 p.m. for next Wednesday, Pacific time, 4 p.m. for next Saturday. And then we'll go back to our regular 6 o'clock after that. Tatiana, would you bless us with a Tatiana song?
Yes, I'd love to. I would love to. I'm going to put you back on gallery. So I've talked about this a few times on this show, but in my 20s, I always was very connected to the earth, but I feel like my root chakra got disconnected from the earth, and I spent my 20s, I feel like, hovering above my body, quite disassociated and very dysregulated, and it was causing a pretty dramatic burnout. And I felt like I think this is what can also happen in spiritual circles and with certain spiritual practices, is that it can unground us. And even though I was doing a lot of spiritual work at the time, it was almost like going in the opposite direction that I needed. I was like all into the ascension. And then the more my body felt sick, the higher up I tried to go to leave my body. And that is just completely destined to fail. Because it's not actually a journey of wholeness. It's a misplaced idea of wholeness, I think. So I was getting increasingly ungrounded, doing a lot of spiritual practices that were making me more disassociated. And I had this moment of clarity of like, girl, you need to like descend down to the earth. You are going the wrong direction. And this is about making wholeness. And so, so this song became kind of a prayer to the mother to like bring me back down. So this is the song. Mama, won't you take me back down? Take me back down to the ground. Mama, won't you take me back down to the ground. I have gotten lost with my head in the clouds. My mind is too loud to hear your voice. And I have gotten lost with my feet off the ground, not making a sound as I fly too high. So Mama, won't you take me back down? Take me back down to the ground. Mama, won't you take me back down to the ground. I've gotten disconnected from the plants and the trees, the life that's been given to sustain me. And I've gotten lost from what is wholesome and pure, so lost and confused and unsure. So Mama, won't you take me back down? Take me back down to the ground. Mama, won't you take me back down to the ground. I've gotten lost, 'cause I forgot my name, forgot my place, couldn't remember from where I came. I have gotten lost, but I'm finding my way home. Mama, take me down. Perhaps as we sing this song the chorus one more time, just imagine your own root system extending from your tailbone down into the center of the earth. Let your belly soften open to the ground beneath you. Travel down to your feet. Feel your feet making contact with the floor. Let yourself feel gravity holding you to this mother. this gravity hold you to this mother. Let the weight of your body rest on her. Coming down from the mind, down from the frenetic hustle of this world, into the slow, deep, grounded, rested love of her. Mama, won't you take me back down? Take me back down to the ground. Mama, won't you take me back down to the ground?
Back to gallery view for a moment, just to send beautiful love and appreciation. What a beautiful song. And it's so lovely knowing the connection of those words, those lyrics to your journey and out of your body for so long and coming back into your body. It's beautiful to know that. And I see your upcoming partner, Khadijah, is with us. Welcome, Khadijah.
Yay.
There's all sorts of wonderful comments that have come in, Tatiana, that I want to read to you. And then we still have another amazing presenter. DeArah writes, wild child. Yes. Susan writes, Tatiana, I still only wear shoes when absolutely necessary.
I'm glad to know there are some barefoot comrades in this chat.
the barefoot sisterhood here.
Yeah.
Carol Craig writes, grounding is connecting with the ionic magnetism of the earth. I buy leather-soled shoes like moccasins so I can connect to the earth. Mare Cromwell, who of course just spoke, says, Tatiana, you are so connected with the nature spirits. Wow. Eleanor Joy sharing a beautiful story about attending a camp retreat and a 5-year-old child who refused to wear shoes. Beautiful story. Carol Craig writes, I like the idea of the galactic family watching over us. Absolutely. Scotty Satori writes, this is such great wisdom, Tatiana. I will remember that and remind myself every time I see something that angers me. Bonnie Russell writes, you give us hope, Tatiana. Carol's all excited about seeing you and Khadijah's program together. Mare, now speaking, I think, about your music, writes, this is so beautiful. Susan Woldridge writes, such beauty. Lorna Sash, Tatiana sings like an angel. Ayada, Tatiana, thank you. That was so deeply soothing and nourishing. It's been a very hectic day for me, so I drank it in. Dia Therese writes, I so resonate with everything you were saying, Tatiana. From no shoes and at one with dirt in the trees. My heart is wrenched as trees are even limbed. And she actually was a logger back, made her living in that back in the 70s, so she's experienced both sides. Jerry Anderson writes, some people disconnected with nature don't realize there's a time to plant and a time to harvest. I lost 3 trees in my forest that were too old, and I could have harvested, and instead the winter storms fell them. Forest stewardship has both sides of the cycle. That's a beautiful point to make. Thank you. A reminder, everybody, that you can find all things Tatiana on her website, which is her name, TatianaSpeed.com. And of course, she's got this beautiful new album. If anybody has not purchased Lullabies for Adults, it is the most wonderful way to wind down at the end of the day and prepare to just go into the rest mode. It's absolutely beautiful. We've played this video before, but play it again. It's so gorgeous. And you've got a new retreat coming up?
Yeah, just scroll down a little further.
There
Yeah,
it
there.
is. With your partner, there he is, your soon
Yes.
friend.
Yes.
I love seeing that he's worked his way into your retreats.
Yes, he has been initiated.
Oh,
Um, no, we've actually done these retreats quite a few times together. The Way of Love retreat. It's a really beautiful journey into the heart, into love. Really builds a sense of it's it's a real deep experience into belonging, community, the sacred. We do a lot of really powerful practices. If there's anyone, I know it's quite far for those of you in the States, but if there's anyone in BC, it's on the Sunshine Coast in a really special retreat center. And these retreats have been so powerful, so special. And yeah, if anyone's interested or close and wants to come, I would be so honored to have you with us.
well, thank you so much, Tatiana. And of course, we'll have more Tatiana a little bit later on in the show. Thank you, Myla. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have a new friend with us. So after three of our favorite luminaries from the past, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Ashtyn Monea. And she is a teacher, a seer, a mentor. She's known for her work in healing, embodiment, and higher consciousness. Ashtyn brings a powerful blend of multidimensional awareness and grounded practicality to help individuals reconnect with their true essence and embody their highest potential. She specializes in masculine and feminine integration, similar to what Reya was talking about earlier tonight. Ashtyn has a unique ability to alchemize shadow into soul, leading to deep transformation. So, welcome to the awakening world, Ashtyn.
Hi, it's so lovely to be here with you, Scott, and everyone else that is here.
Well, since you're brand new to the show, I would love for you to share with us, tell us your story.
So I'm going to go a little bit sideways here, but by way of what's guided for me in this moment. So I'm not going to share in the way that I typically would in this moment, because there were certain things that were arising as I was listening to other women share. So where I'm going to begin here is this moment where I was probably about 5 years old. And I could feel this sensation of connection and love. And now also what I know is this deep connection with what I call the original mother, like the original source of all of creation, the original womb. And so through this connection with her, there was also this like sensation of love that would move through the purity of my own heart. And though it felt so palpable in my immediate surroundings, like my own kind of energetic body, when I would go somewhat outside of that, I felt the absence of it. And I didn't have words for this when I was 5, but it made me cry. And I would cry a lot. Like, why is this thing here, but it's not here? So later on in my life, now probably in my 20s, I was coming out of that kind of cliche empath narcissist relationship and realizing, wow, like that wasn't love. And I had this moment with myself where I felt love, like really for the first time in a way with myself. But then I'm reconnecting with nature. I'm starting to walk more outside, and I could just like feel her, like I could feel Gaia below my feet. And I could feel her nourishment enter my feet and then enter my body. And I just had this moment of like, oh, there it is. Like there's the thing that I was feeling was absent outside of this range of myself, but yet it's her and she's me and I'm here and she's right below my feet. So now I'm going to take us back way in time and it'll get a little bit multidimensional. So I had that moment. I met someone. I would refer to this as like a sacred contract, cosmic connection that I had through multi lifetimes. And I started to really remember myself, like really, really remember myself through time, space, so many dimensions. And one of the things that I've learned is that as a soul, one of the things that it's really like the core thing that I'm known for and what I do is I'm a restorer of planets. So when I met Gaia, I had been building a whole planetary system. And I got to this point where I was like being this planetary system essentially. And then I could feel her and I was like, oh, what is this magnificent creature? She had something that was so unbelievably special, and I could feel it. Like the potential that was coming off of her was like astronomically palpable. And I also recognized that there were certain things, like certain elements that, as being someone who's a restorer of worlds, I've gone into a lot of falls and falls and falls, and I could see, oh, there are certain kind of missing ingredients. And so a fall is certainly going to arrive to her. But her potential to alchemize this is the highest I've ever seen. So, of course, as a restorer of worlds, arriving to her was like, this is like the gold, right? This is like the grandest opportunity possible. So I kind of traveled around the Milky Way galaxy. I'm code collecting. I'm doing all of these things, and I'm arriving to her. And now, in this moment, I'm in what I would refer to her as firmament. And so it's like her healthy, whole, healed, energetic body. And there were a lot of high harmonic beings that were there with me, you know, dragons, angels, etc. And we were like all so connected. And then the fall came. And so it's like almost like a, right, like a boom on her energetic body. And I describe this almost like it's like shattered glass. It like takes her divine level architecture out of place and it shatters in a way. And that's where a de-evolving portal, which is more extractive rather than life-giving, forms. And then you might think of like the fall of the angels falling from the firmament. Well, this is what this is. And this is a part of my own multidimensional memory that I've come back into contact with. And so I remember falling to earth. And at the time I was a dragon, very familiar with grid work and grid lines and restoring earth in this particular kind of way. And one of the things that I noticed about Gaia was like she had this beautiful motherly energy. And she also had a beautiful divine child energy. But something that was not fully complete yet was the solidification and containment piece, the actual protection, and a strength and structure that comes through the masculine element. And so this is, to me, a part of like the lesson is really returning to this state of wholeness that anchors in more deeply the masculine essence. I think that sometimes people confuse patriarchy as like we have too much masculine, but it's not. It's the absence of masculine. It's like, okay, we have too much wounded masculine, maybe, not exactly the aligned masculine that we really need to come into ultimate forms of wholeness. So in this fall, then I arrived to Earth, and you know, when I'm 5 years old, I'm feeling this like absence of this thing, and now I know it's a part of what I'm meant to bring here onto Earth as a restorer of worlds. And Reya was talking about making an offering to Earth, and I would say that probably everyone's here is an offering to Earth, right? Our very being is an offering to Earth. The ways that we commit, the ways that we listen, the way that we take leaps of faith through the unknown, the ways that we bring certain things here that even maybe we're like the one to bring it here, like certain combinations of code or wisdom or experiences through time and space and our own soul's lineage, like on Earth and beyond Earth. These are things that, we're here to ultimately anchor in. and so this connection with Gaia, like, just love her so much. I just love her so much. I feel it through things like devotion, which I define as love in motion. And I feel it through these like kind of soul contracts that I have with her in this mission of restoration. And I think that many of us here likely we would resonate with that. I kind of think of like a soul contract in a way that I might have experienced it with this cosmic connection, for example, and the love between us was so profound in that way that we've made these deeper commitments to ourselves and to each other and to this world, to a greater, grander humanity, to Gaia herself, and even her own restoration being having really strong ripple effects out into the galactics and beyond, relative to, for example, addressing these falls that have happened in different spaces among the galactics. Oh. One moment, because I'm just bringing it down.
Take your time. This is lovely.
Thank you. And so, when we're arriving to Earth, and I know, for example, if you're more maybe like starseed oriented, it sometimes can be very difficult to be here. If you're really, really pure-hearted, it can be very difficult to understand some of the atrocities that happen on Earth, and therefore it can be a little bit hard to be here, maybe a lot of it. And sometimes that means that we might seek safety dependent on our own composition, where what Tatiana was sharing, for example, like the ascension piece, like, okay, I'm going to go up and out because it feels a little bit maybe safer in that moment. But our duty is to anchor in the things that we are, in the like our true path, our true self, our true purpose, which is a big part of the work that I facilitate. And in that, we bring so much more to Earth, like things that potentially are not currently here in this dimensional reality, not to the concentration that we really need it. And so getting into the body and really bringing down our awareness, like even beyond the mind and into the place of the heart, where like the codes of our own soul really arrive. And if you're a womb-bodied being, down into the womb, and then from heart or womb down into the roots, and then planting the seeds that were meant to really plant here so that they can live and exist and truly manifest, like manifesting a whole new physicalized new paradigm that we get to share here together. And so with that, I would invite listeners, if you feel so inclined, to really call in the codes of your own soul and parts and pieces of your true blueprint, your fuller, wholer essence in all of its multifacetedness, in beyond the mind and down into the heart, further down. If you're a womb body being, maybe landing some of that in your womb, and then connecting into your own root, moving down below the roots into the soil of Gaia, really connecting in with those deeper sacred contracts that you may have made with her in a form of sacred reciprocity and offering. And then further down, like past the rock and the bedrock of Gaia, like volcanic layers into her iron core. And then ask for guidance and wisdom or support and alignment, spaciousness and reception to be all that you are. And then returning back up to your feet and deeply into your body. And just acknowledging what a blessing it can be for us all to be here in this massive transformational stage of humanity and Gaia. Like, wow, master souls are here at this time for a lot of reason. And the last thing that I kind of want to speak to, especially because we're here and we're honoring the mother, and I had mentioned, the original mother. I call this the original hum of the original mother. It's like the very beginnings of all of things of life itself. And to really call in that original hum from the original mother through what I call the current of the goddess to arrive into you and through you. And if you are a woman, to call that directly into your womb to remove any patriarchal imprinting and otherwise distortions that are colonizing spaces within your own blueprint, path, and purpose. The space that you're meant to occupy, the space that the mother is meant to also occupy, and then expanding that out from the womb and beyond. Like, may we all listen and receive the current of the goddess, lay all things to the altar of the mother, surrender in grand devotion, participate and be actionable. So that we all get to experience a greater, grander humanity, personal forms of expansion and wholeness. And that also which leads to planetary and otherwise restoration. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to go to gallery view for a moment. Let's just all send some love and appreciation to Ashtyn for that beautiful transmission and invitation to connect. Thank you. Thank you.
My honor.
And to learn more about Ashtyn, her website, I love the name of it. It's trueselfembodied.com. Trueselfembodied.com. And that's where you can learn all about her, a little bit more about her story and the different events. Is there a particular event you want to make sure that
right there, Scott, highly perceptive. So I do have a few seats left. This is an intimate, only 10 participants, intuitive coaching cohort that goes on for 6 months. So this is going to be for like the pure-hearted, intuitive human. There are just things that we face that not everyone faces. I have a background in psychology. I worked on a master's degree in marriage and family therapy. Life guided me to leave that at the final hour. And one of the major motivations for that was because I recognized that counseling, though it can be really supportive, it is ultimately founded in an old paradigm. And when we're here to create a new paradigm, it's only going to be able to meet us partially, not fully. And so I really wanted to fill in that gap. Like, I noticed that being an evolutionary on the leading edge that I am, that it was very difficult to find people who could truly see me and truly meet me and therefore also truly support me. So Highly Perceptive was really born out of that need for myself, but also working with people one-on-one who clearly also were desiring this, and to do this in a group space. Because in doing the one-on-one work that I have been doing for quite some time, people would oftentimes say to me, you're the only one that I can share this with. You're the only one that would understand this. And I was like, gosh, if you knew all the other people I was connecting with, right? And so I was like, well, I would love us to be able to do this in a group space so that we have like communal resonance, which has its own forms of healing, and you get direct intuitive coaching time with me all simultaneously. And we get to be in this place that for me is one of my favorite forms of intimacy, which is journeying alongside each other in the evolutionary process and like witnessing people bloom or going down in these deep descents, just like your creations, like all of the things, right? I just find it to be so deeply connective. And oftentimes when we are, doing this type of work, we go through these periods at least of somewhat of isolation. And so I wanted us to move transformation out of isolation and into communal resonance. So that's what Highly Perceptive is for. The first call is this Saturday. So if you're interested, then you definitely would want to sign up as soon as possible.
Okay, and one last time, if you go to her website, trueselfembodied.com, scroll down a little bit. Here's Highly Perceptive. And there's also ways that you can reach out to her for more information. So thank you. We're going to have Ashtyn come back with all of our presenters in a little bit. Everything's running a little bit longer because everybody's so fascinating, but we are going to have a roundtable conversation. So if any of you have questions in the audience, please get them ready or pop them into the chat box, and DeArah and I will keep an eye out for them. Do want to mention a couple of Global Peace Tribe announcements, and then Reya Manna is going to bless us with a song, and then we'll have our Q&A time. It's Earth Day, and obviously tonight's show is very much about getting us ready for it. I want to also let people know that on Monday, our friend Mitchell Rabin is going to be doing his annual A Better World program, and that'll be on Monday at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific time. And again, it's an online program with a lot of our favorite people, Chief Phil Lane, Patrick McCullum, and you can register free of charge by going to abetterworld.net. I'll leave that up for a moment. If you go to www.abetterworld.net, and I'll also put this poster into the chat box for our Zoom room audience. But for everybody watching on YouTube and Facebook, please go to abetterworld.net, free registration, Monday at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. And as I had mentioned earlier before, really excited. I know that Reawakened Andrew is in the audience with us. Welcome, Andrew. And he's done a great job of putting together what's just going to be a terrific program. Again, just a reminder, next Wednesday, instead of the Awakening World, at 6 o'clock, we're going to direct everybody to go to this program, which will be hosted by our good friend Ben Bowler, put together by Reawakened Andrew. And I will send the Zoom room link out to everybody in an email, so you can get it that way. Or Andrew, if you've got it handy and you want to put it in the chat box now, in addition to the email that I'll send out, that'd be great. A reminder for those of you who are watching on Facebook or YouTube, we do this show twice a week. Every Wednesday and every Saturday, we have the Awakening World. And to learn more about us, go to our website, just like you see behind me, Global Peace Tribe. Go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com. You can learn all about us, all about our upcoming shows. Click register for the new season, and that will take you to our registration page, I promise you. You can register, and you'll get all the Zoom room links for all of our shows for the next 3 months. So please, please do join us. And now's a great time because we just are starting our spring season. All right. Well, that's a lot to integrate, and the best way to integrate is by listening to music, especially by somebody who's so connected to her hollow bone, our beloved Reya Manna.
Oh, thank you, Scott. And wow, I'm just so transported. Thank you, beautiful women, for your powerful shares, your connection to Mother Earth. Mare, thank you for the work you're doing in gathering women to hold this strong space. Just, deep gratitude to you. And Ashtyn, thank you for the words you speak, the connection you have, and for the honoring of the men. And I love that you had that witnessing of really what's lacking, and just, yeah, this is a very moving show that you've put together, Scott. So thank you so much. So, in this, just scanning my Rolodex of songs of, what do I even sing that speaks to the power of this moment? And I can't land on something. So I'm going to sing a song called Ancient Mother. And it speaks to that energy of the mother. In my love of God, the last many years, I've been doing a lot of writing of Christian praise music. And what's kind of been morphing in there is this praise to the mother. But in that same vein, we need this energy of praise to the mother. So it's been a work in progress, and Ancient Mother is not quite that, but it's in that vein of recognizing that beauty and that potency. And who she is who we are.
Ancient Mother, my feet have wandered deep into your domain. Forgotten voices rise to the surface and call upon your name. Come to greet me, teach me of your mysteries. I'm coming out of the cave to greet you. Ancient Mother, your feet have wandered deep into your domain, disguised as bodies dressed up in pageantry, playing hide and seek. Come to greet me, meet me in the mirror. Let me see your face, let me remember. Ancient Mother, Ancient Mother, Ancient Mother, Ancient Mother, Ancient Mother, Ancient Mother, Ancient Mother. Let me hear you, let me hear you, let me hear you, let me hear you.
love and prayers and appreciation. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reya Manna.
Thank you, Scott. And of course, I want to acknowledge Tatiana and her beautiful song as well, and her beautiful share.
Having both of you on the same show is just such a delight. It's special, very special. Thank you. All right, we're going to take just a few questions. So if anybody has a question or something that you want to express to one of our presenters, and we do actually have a question from DeArah Joy for you, Ashtyn. So I'm going to bring you up. And the question from DeArah Joy, and DeArah Joy, by the way, is all the way down in Ecuador. She writes, can you share more about your unique ability to alchemize shadow into soul?
Yes. It's such a big question, though, I will say. And the reason why I'm saying that is because for me, a big component of the work that I do with those that choose to move into the work with me is meeting people in deep spaces of attunement. So thing that I've been able to do since I was a child, though of course at the time I didn't have word for it, is to attune into someone's soul and like someone's soul essence. So then that automatically allows you to feel the things that are blocks or barriers or they're laying over top of that. So that could be like, it could be ancestral stuff, patriarchal imprinting, like societal conditioning, traumas that have happened, on and on and on, false belief systems, like limited belief systems. And so my ability to tune into the truth that someone really is at the core of who they are is what ultimately gives me access to be able to see and feel and even touch into what we might refer to as shadow. And so why I said it's a big question is because it's so personal to the person that's in front of me, or maybe a field, a group of people that I'm working with in the moment, as far as the exact how. Like when someone, for example, is on a one-on-one call with me, like my seer single session, I always offer a channeled, practical, applicable. And they are like never the same for the same person or the same person in a different session in a different moment. But at least I can kind of give you a little bit of like maybe the behind the scenes, the process of how exactly I'm touching base with that content, and then how I can kind of offer you a personalized way of touching base with the shadow to ultimately dissolve it so that what arrives is exactly what is at the core and the truth of you.
Thank you for that. And yes, I know that's a big question, so thank you. I'm not seeing any other questions. So Mare Cromwell would love for Tatiana to speak more about her nature spirit experiences. If you could turn your camera back on.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
She even wrote, Tatiana will start video later. Oh, there she is. I don't know if you caught the question. It's from Mare, asking for you to share more about your nature spirit experiences.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to share about that. Yeah, it started when I was maybe 6. A real affinity with the fairies, the fairy realm. And my name, actually, Tatiana, means fairy queen, which I thought was kind of fun. Learning that after becoming obsessed with fairies as a child. But yeah, as a child, I think I actually saw them. And it was in this little wood that was in my on my grandparents' land, and just a sense of such magic and beauty, and they would kind of like flicker all around me, and there were some that were really small, some that were full human size, some that like were part of the tree spirits or part of the I found different fairy spirits like in the trees, and then connected to I was very connected to them with creeks and little rivers. Um, I had experiences with dragons when I was a kid. I had like a very, as a child, like my imagination was just, I had a learning disability as a kid, so I didn't learn to read till much, much later. And I was an only child. And so I feel like I was sort of just in my own imaginational realm, which was a challenge trying to fit into the school system. But I almost feel like I was in my right brain for a lot longer than we traditionally are because I was so behind in school, and had no idea what was going on. So I feel like that was something I had to do a lot of self-esteem work and recovery around. But I think the gift of it was that my imagination was very highly developed. Like, and I remember I could, yeah, I had experience with angels, fairies, very connected to the fairies, gnomes. I mean, I saw all kinds of magical beings. Oh,
So,
hello, Matt.
hi, Tatiana. I would love to respond to you because I work a lot with the nature spirits too. And I can feel them right now being really excited that you are talking about them and that you've had all these experiences. And I hope it's okay if I give you this message that you really are a queen for them. Your name is like so perfect for you because they love you to bits. They just so love you to bits. And for us to have this conversation right now about the nature spirits, I mean, part of my work with Mother Gaia is to really give a voice to the sacred seen and unseen ones, like the tree spirits, the dryads. And I was definitely getting the sense when you're talking about, and I know many of us, our hearts are broken and we really feel it so deeply when trees are cut. Uh, and when trees are cut, the dryads, which are the tree spirits that live within them, who go on to another tree then when that tree dies naturally or when the tree is cut, they need to find another home. It's just heartbreaking on many, many levels for all these beings. And for those of us who are really sensitive and tuned into them, it's heartbreaking. But you really are connected. And I just so honor you and thank you for your purity of spirit. And my sense is that you have a nature spirit soul. You know, you are one of them.
I'm so moved hearing you right now. I was like getting teary as you were talking. I feel the love I feel for magic and the sacred and the nature spirits is it goes so deep, like I could weep. It's not something I think it's the first time I've ever mentioned this on Scott's show. Like I don't go around talking like this because people are like, you know, but it is I mean, and I remember when I got to my 20s and I got just kind of felt more disconnected. I remember this one day, the longing for magic and for fairies and for that realm was so acute. And um yeah, I just did this like epic prayer and I was like, fairies have to be real. Like if you're real, like show yourself to me like right now. And then and then I heard this like rapid knocking on my door. And then I had just moved into this new building and I opened the door and there was this like very small girl who actually like ended up living across the hall from me, and she was the most like magical creature like I had ever seen. And I was like, oh my god, you're a fairy. And then she was like, yeah, we had never talked or seen each other. And then I don't know,
Wow.
it was just like there also I so what I'm saying is like there are those of us who like so clearly carry that essence or that
Yeah.
resonance.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
couldn't come to me in a form like they didn't come to me the way they came as a child, but they came to me in a human um,
Well, they
form.
love you to bits. they love you so much. And the fact that we're even talking about them here is so important to them because a lot of people don't believe they're real. And I really want to give this message to the world at large, and you guys are the ones hearing this. In order for us to really birth into this new earth, which is my way of wording it, we need to come back into really sacred relationship with them because their role is so, so important. No plant could grow on our earth without the support of the nature spirits, the fairies and the pixies, and nothing could live on this planet if it wasn't for their support. So I really am honoring you, and I love that you're here, and I love your music, and I need to get some of it.
Well, that's a perfect segue because since we're way past 8 o'clock, I'm going to kind of wrap up, and I will wrap up by going back to both of your websites. So let's go ahead and start with Tatiana's because that's where you can get her music, and her music is all so wonderful. And her new album, Lullabies for Adults, we've been following it. She premiered like a couple of original tracks of it, I think 2 years ago when you were first putting it together. So definitely get her music. And for anybody who's possibly able to make it up to British Columbia, her Way of Love retreat coming up in May. Now, that's not enough time for you to organize a trip to British Columbia, May 22nd to 24th. And then while we have Mare here, let's take a look one more time at Mare's wonderful work. You can find her at 1000, that's 1000 goddesses.net. And please register for and support what's going to be happening next Wednesday, April 22nd, as these amazing women who have marched over 500 miles will arrive in Washington, D.C. So thank you so much, Mare, for what you're doing and continue to do. Thank you, Tatiana. Big love to you both.
Mare, I want to talk to you more, if I can.
We'll reconnect. We'll connect.
Yeah.
We'll find each other.
Okay.
I'll send you guys each other's numbers.
Okay.
Oh.
Matchmaker. All right.
You're good.
Well, I'm going to bring up.
Amazing.
I'm going to bring up Reya Manna one more time too. Just a reminder that you can find all things Reya Manna at her website, which is her name, Reya, Reya, Manna, Manna, and a big opportunity to join her Songkeeper school. And several of our people who are in the Zoom room right now, Karen S. and DeArah, their lives have changed as a result of working with Reya Manna. And you don't have to be a professional singer, but she helps people to find their voice. And so strongly encourage everybody to participate in her Songkeeper school, which just began, so you can still join and participate in that. And Reya,
Thank you so much, Scott.
you know how much I love you. Thank you very, very much.
Love you. Blessings, everyone. Thank you so much.
And then finally, our new presenter, Ashtyn Monea. And thank you, Ashtyn. It's great to have you join us. And her website, once again, is a beautiful name, TrueSelfEmbodied.com. TrueSelfEmbodied.com. And go down there, scroll down, and click Highly Perceptive and reserve your spot. And there's where all the information is. You can pop your contact information in, and she'll get back to you with any questions you might have. And I certainly hope you'll come back onto the show again sometime.
I would love to, Scott. And I just want to say it's been so wonderful being here with all of you, all the wonderful women in this space. You all inspired me and bring tears to my eyes because I just feel like the love in the room and the connection with the mother in the room. And it's one of my favorite things. So thank you so much for having me here with all of you today.
Absolutely. It worked out perfectly. And stick around because there is still more. We always have prayer time. And our two prayer goddesses, also two magnificent women who love the mother and the mother loves them, DeArah and Desirea. And they certainly both have heavily connected to the nature spirits. So before you lead prayer, I'd love for each of you to share a little bit about anything you want to share about that's kind of along tonight's topic about your love of the mother, your connection to the nature spirits. Take it away.
Yeah. So I love the topic of nature spirits. I've been playing with fairies ever since I was little, but I have a particular story from my adulthood that really resonates with me. So one day I'm out in the forest, and I get the message, go down a different path that I normally don't go down. And I'm like, okay. So I start walking down this path. And I come to this certain area, and you can see all these fallen trees. You can see it would just look like a kid's playground. I said, all right. I sat down, I started meditating. And at this particular point in my life, I needed extra protection. And I was asking for protection. And all of a sudden, I hear, open your eyes. And I open my eyes and I look over at the tree. And the tree that was there, all I see is faces of gnomes. And they say, look down. And I look down, and there happened to be this bracelet. And if you know much about silver, it's a very protective and it's very masculine. And I had been sitting there for 45 minutes meditating, and this bracelet was not near my feet. And it had appeared when I was meditating. And I was like, mind was blown. I wore the bracelet for a couple weeks, and all of a sudden I realized I didn't need protection anymore. And I said, thank you. I appreciate the gift. And then all of a sudden the bracelet broke. And that to me is just, oh, it's just miraculous. So I love it. But that's my fairy story.
I love that fairy story. Wow. Well, while we have Desirea for a moment, we'll go to you in a second, DeArah. But she's got something new going on. Tell us about the Ascension Tribe. And I just put the link into the chat box. Tell us about this.
Yeah. So every Monday night at 8 p.m. Central Time, I do a meditation with two other healers. We do a couple different things. One, we bring in alchemy energies. So very transformative energies, very activating energies. I channel, we do a sound bath, and it is all about just opening people up. We have people come on the call and they'll have an ache or pain. They'll leave the call, they'll no longer have an ache or pain. You know, we have people who come on the call and they're like, I just cannot open up like this during the week, but when I come on the call, all of a sudden I'm seeing the colors, I'm having the visions. Just miraculous things are coming through. So that is the Monday night meditation that I do. And I just wanted to offer it for free. If you guys want to try it, just go ahead and check out the link and sign up, and we'll send you a link to try it.
Thank you. Monday nights at 6 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. DeArah, you've been just smiling away. I just saw you're having a love affair with our presenters tonight. What do you want to share?
I'm just having so much fun. I'm just chatting away and receiving, and just my inner child is getting so fulfilled. And I knew Desiree was bubbling with a story to tell, and so much fun to work with her, you Desiree. So I'm excited about your offering and sharing it. And your story reminded me of a time when I was working with the goddess Sekhmet, and it was on the day of Sekhmet, and I was out camping, and I looked at this tree, and the tree morphed into the statue of Sekhmet. I have the picture of it. It's amazing. So I love when we talk about magic here, and we descend into the magic, get grounded into the magic. I guess the one thing I wanted to share really is about music and the power of music. When I was very young, there was an absence of a cognitive connection between what I was feeling and being able to name it and express it. And I noticed that my angel guides started to teach me about emotion through music. Like, I noticed that they would start sending me songs that had certain words or certain energies that pertain to a particular emotion. And that's how I started to learn to name what I was feeling and then attach it to the way the outer world saw that. So I'm forever grateful for that. So that's something I haven't really shared with anyone before. So now here we go.
Thank you. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So our prayer time. We can feel the energy shifting as we move down into that, and all the nature spirits and the earth elements and the angels and the galactics and all those named and unnamed, seen and unseen, are here present right now. So just filling our collective cauldron with that energy and sending that through our bodies and into the bodies of each other, those that we love, those that need healing, and allowing our beings to receive this energy in ways that bypass the conscious mind, that literally come into our energetic and our visceral systems. So blending the soma and the sacred for healing now.
Itakara bakate takara 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 bore sirage takara bogare takare takare takaragade suru bogare taya takaragate takaragade suragabore sire takara takara takare takare takaragatasa. Clearing some of the distortion field, takare takare takaragate takaragate takara, allowing our child to play. Inner child healing. Lots of fairy energy. The ancient mother. Itakaroboka takade takarakate takarakate bore sarakate takarakate takarabore sarakataka. Itakaragate takarabore rara serega takaraboka takare takarakaboka sarakatakasa. Itakaragate takarakate takarakata karara sarakata karakarabosa.
Clearing and clearing and allowing room for some of the fear that our inner children are feeling, some of the angst. Just as Desiree was bringing that beautiful joy in, I felt the other arise to be cleared. So just allowing more compassion for self, more compassion for those parts of us that are seemingly struggling, and then comes right back to joy. So thank you.
Mm. While we're in prayer mode, I want to put the attention for a moment on our beloved Eleanor Joy. She didn't know that I was going to do this, but we love Eleanor Joy very much. I know she's going through some health challenges. So let's just take a moment and everybody send maximum grace to our beloved Eleanor Joy. Maximum grace. And Eleanor Joy, just breathe in and receive how much we love you and how much we care about you and how much we want for you to experience radiant health, healing, and maximum grace. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Eleanor Joy, for being such an important part of our show and our world here. I noticed that there was a question from George. I'm not sure if Mare or Ashtyn or DeArah Desirea want to answer it, or Reya, but George asked kind of an interesting question, which was about how do the nature spirits feel about cutting grass? He cuts 1.5 acres on a riding lawnmower. Did any of you ever thought about that? DeArah.
Yeah, I think about that when I walk through the grass, and I usually let them know I'm coming, and I try and visually send them a picture of where I'm walking so they can, move aside if I need to do that. So.
It's very sweet. Well, thank you. Mare, do you have any thoughts about that? Yeah, I think you might.
Yeah, places like lawns, the nature spirits that are larger, if I understand this correctly, and I'm tuning in, they're not going to be found there. And the ones that are working really closely with the grass to help the grass grow, they hear the vibrations, and as I'm hearing right now, they just drop way low, or they vibrate out as the mower's coming through. They're very intelligent, and the people have been lawn mowing for a long time, so they've gotten kind of used to this. It's not their preference because the vibrations really bother them. It's that frequency is very irritating for them.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you for answering that question, and thank you for asking it, George. All right, we're going to go to Tatiana in a moment for our closing song. I want to let people know that this weekend is the New Living Expo. Of course, we've done a couple of shows premiering it, and I will be, I haven't made the poster yet, but on Saturday night, we will be coming to you live at 6 o'clock Pacific time from the New Living Expo. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And our beloved Tangela will be my co-host, because most of our guests on Saturday night are going to be coming to Tangela, and I are going to be at her booth at the expo, and they're going to come and sit with us. And it's going to be really, really fun. And some of our confirmed guests include AJ and Thomas, and also JJ and Desiree Hertog are going to be coming by, Victoria Shaw, and some other soul searchers. And Omashar will be back. Omashar will be back on Saturday night. And speaking of Omashar, before we go to a closing song, he actually sent a little video. So I have downloaded it as per Tatiana's very wise suggestion. And so here's a special something from our beloved Omashar, giving a little trip down what he's been experiencing in England. And he's very ready to come home, I can tell you that. So if you missed it, this is at Kensington Gardens, which is a rather famous place.
That's the birdies. Shakespeare's Theatre is right there. And then River Avon, and this is Holy Trinity Church in the background, where I used to sing as a little boy. Well, actually, not that little, I was 11. Well, here we are in rural England, right by an amazing racetrack. It's so beautiful today. It's Easter Monday. Apparently something happens today. I'm not too sure what it is. It's always nice to see little ones. Just left my mummy, still alive, crying her eyes out. It's sad. Well, I just managed to sneak away from Stratford-upon-Avon, and on my way back to the States, I'm coming down to a place called Brighton, which is one of those old English resorts. And there we have a traditional pier with all the fairground stuff. I can't scoop it at the end. Anyway, we'll have a walk up there and show you what it's like. It's where people used to come with, I don't know, hankies tied up on their heads in knots as a hat, and this is definitely interesting. Look at this right here. This is Ivor, the tarot consultant. We should get him in a part of Soul Search, right? Look at these guys here. Indeed. It's kind of late, so things are sort of closing up. Anyway.
My friend, it doesn't matter. So go on. Be carefree like a little baby. But first, give Zoltar a little money, and I will give it.
Well, that was fun. And all of you remember Amanda Waring. Well, she lives in Brighton, and so Omashar gave her a visit, and they made a little video for us as well. This is very short, but our friend Amanda Waring with Omashar in Brighton, and this was made today.
So here we are, beautiful Amanda Waring and myself, whatever my name is. I've forgotten that, thank goodness. And I'm just one day away from coming back to the airport to jump on an airplane to the United States of America. However, I have the blessing of being in
Kingly Vale,
and this is a druid tree, which is a
yew tree,
and they are between
1,000 to 2,000 years old.
This tree is 1,000 to 2,000 years old. It's amazing, amazing tree. It's just so beautiful. And I'm just going to go a little, you stay there, I'm going to go a little further away from it. See, she's not as tall as a tree now, is she? And they are like sacred temples. And so this is just a little shout out to all of you from Amanda and
yes, we are sending
myself.
Love. Lots of love, and may the energy of rebirth, which is what the yew tree holds, it holds death and rebirth. May the time of rebirth be blessing you all from you to you to you to you to you.
That was a Freudian, no, it wasn't Freudian, it was a joke. It was a
UK joke.
From you and you.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, love you all. I will, and Amanda will soon see you Saturday. And I know Amanda will be on the show sometime soon, sharing more of her amazing poetry. So, ciao Bella, love you.
Bye bye, bye.
That was fun, wasn't it? All right, thank you everybody for staying with us, those of you that are still with us. And we will conclude now with our wonderful Tatiana. Maybe a lullaby. I think all of her music has that ability to kind of put us into the soft, beautiful space.
Wow, what a full, beautiful gathering tonight, Scott and everyone. And I felt inspired. It's not quite a lullaby, but because we're honoring Mother Earth and we're honoring the rising sacred feminine today, and because of how inspired I am by each of the women who has shared, I wanted to conclude with this song, which is kind of an ode to this rising feminine and to each of us as women who are the embodiments of her, of the mother, of this feminine energy on earth. And shout out to the men on this call who are holding space for that, because that takes courage to be a man who's actually a stand for this rising on the planet, and I so deeply honor you. Sisters, let us gather as we've done for centuries, to tell our tale and share our stories and unlock ancient memories. We feel the wounds of the past, but our hearts speak of a time to come. Let's gather round the sacred fire and beat the resounding drum. We are the goddess. We are her flesh and bone. We are the goddess, walking each other home. We hold 1,000 tales within us. Our bodies have endured it all. We've gathered since time began, back when God was a woman. Our hearts hold our grandmother's cries. They hold our daughters' hopes and dreams. We are the healers and the weavers. It's time for us to become leaders. So beat the resounding drum. A new age has come. So beat the resounding drum. A new age has begun. We are the goddess. We are her flesh and bone. We are the goddess, walking each other home. I honor this rising, sacred feminine face of God on this earth. I honor this great remembering of her, this great returning to our Mother, Mother Earth, Mother God. I honor each body, each heart. I honor the womb space of each woman, and I honor every man who is rising to protect and support and amplify her. We are part of an ancient story, so much older than we've been told. Maiden, mother, crone, we are walking each other home. This call is another lighthouse transmitting this frequency of rebirth. As Earth Day comes towards us, we send our love down into her body. And as we do, our own body can anchor deeper to this mother. Bless all the nature spirits that were with us today. I so feel them and their magic and their love. I feel their luminous light beings circling all around us. sisters, we are the goddess. We are her flesh and bone. We are the goddess, walking each other home. Oh, amen, hallelujah. Thank you, everyone.
Wow. Thank you so much, Tatiana. We are all walking each other home through our programs and our time together. And thank you. You're just such a gem. Such a gem.
Thank you.
And she's getting married this summer. And I'm planning on being there. Yay! So we get to finally meet in person.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait.
And of course, Tatiana and Khadijah will be back 2 weeks. So we're looking forward to that. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for being with us tonight. A lovely, lovely show. I'll see you live from the New Living Expo on Saturday night. Have a great few days, and we'll look forward to seeing all of you then. Take care, everybody, and good night.